This film.
You ready?
Yep.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Culver Town Council. At this time, I would like to ask everyone to please silence or turn off your cell phone or any other electronic devices. This meeting is being broadcast and recorded for public access and publication by the town of Culver in accordance with the Indiana Open Door. Your participation in this meeting is your consent to have your statements included in the public. The council values public participation and input. Citizens will have the opportunity to address the council regarding concerns, questions, comments, or agenda-related matters during the public input section. Except for the public hearing, audience participation will not be permitted during the remainder of the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation and interest in the business of our town, and we will now call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
William Clevenger,
Present.
Joe Day,
Present.
Jeannie Monroe,
Here.
Dana Neer,
Present.
and Sally Ricciardi.
Here.
Will you all please join me for the pledge of allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
The stage now of public concern, utility, ordinance violation appeals. Anyone in the audience present for violation, ordinance appeals? Hearing none, we'll go to public dialogue. This is an opportunity for the council to open discussions with the public concerning items on the agenda. Conversations will be an open format and ensure that no individual dominates the discussion or misdirects anything from a specific topic. Anyone wish to address the council as far as any public input? Hearing none. We'll now begin the meeting. The approval of the minutes of July 23rd, 2026 regular meeting.
There were no minutes yet. Minutes have not been distributed yet.
Minutes are not distributed yet. Okay. On to new business, One Marshall County. Presentation and requests.
Hello, good evening. Your protocol to stand, or would it be okay if I pulled up a chair?
Whatever you wish to do, sir.
Thank you. I also know there's an electronic version of the presentation, but I did bring hard copies if anybody would prefer. Would anybody like a hard copy? Kevin? Karen, did you want?
It'd be nice if we could have some video.
Identify yourself, please.
Yes, miss. Can you hold up for just a second?
Absolutely.
I try to have it here. What's going on? Russ, I don't know why you don't have video.
I can see everything fine.
Interesting. Yeah, all I see is KH.
Maybe you need to make your screen bigger.
No, I got the whole screen and in a little box it just says KH. I got Jenny up at the top and Rich and myself, but I don't have the room, so I don't know what's going on there.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask for your patience and maybe log on and actually watch the video when it's posted to YouTube.
Go ahead. Okay. Well, again, thank you for allowing me to speak with you tonight. My name is Jeff Huyen. I am the Plymouth City Attorney, but I'm here tonight because I'm also an advisory member on the board of One Marshall County. You're also fortunate to have Kevin Dante on that board as well, so he can correct anything that I say wrong tonight. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about One Marshall County, where we come from, where we are, and where we're hoping to go. First of all, just kind of our understanding of what is going on in Marshall County right now. And if you go to the next slide, and none of this is news to any of you. We know that housing demand far exceeds the supply. There's a shortage nationwide, but we feel it critically here in Marshall County, and I'm sure in the town of Culver as well from speaking with Kevin. We know that infrastructure has become more complicated, and to meet infrastructure demands, we need to coordinate multiple types across larger areas. We know that our employers are having trouble competing for the talent and the skilled employees that they need to fill open positions. And we've learned through our experiences going back to regional cities and stellar communities and our participation with South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership that our communities are stronger when we collaborate and work together to meet these needs. So with this understanding, the vision for Marshall County that we've sort of developed is for the county to be recognized as a destination for families, to be a magnet for employers, to be a leader in quality of place developments, and to be a model for regional collaboration and the things that we can accomplish together. And I'm sorry, I'm moving ahead.
I can't see the preview, so.
Okay, if you could, there you go. Over the last few years, as One Marshall County has been developed, it's taken a little longer than we hoped, but that's because we've been very deliberate in listening to the feedback and thinking about what role One Marshall County is going to play. We now have a strategic plan and a mission that I'm not going to read to you verbatim, but what I think is important is understanding what One Marshall County is and is not. One Marshall County has no intention of taking a lead role in specific projects or taking over any of the work that the communities are doing or undermining grant applications or funding applications. What we really are trying to do is to be a convener, to connect the various leaders and stakeholders across the communities to help collaborate on the projects that affect all of us, to help identify potential funding for the projects that matter to your community, and to create partnerships so that we can all proceed and continue to see success in those projects. The organization started from the Marshall County Crossroads Initiative, and I'm sure Jenny can tell you a lot of stories about that because she was so instrumental in that organization. This is sort of the evolution of that organization, taking the volunteer-led Crossroads Initiative and bringing it to the next step, continuing to unite stakeholders. Those stakeholders include government representatives, nonprofits, businesses, residents, interested parties across the county. And we've now established a board of directors. There are 28 members of that board. And I think that represents, and farther in the presentation, toward the end, there's a list of those board members. It's also available on the website, onemarshallcounty.org. But I think that board of directors really represents a broad cross-section of the county, not just geographically, but across those various organizations, again, from government to business to nonprofits and general community input. So the way the model is intended to work is that all of those stakeholders come together from the various backgrounds, and we work together as One Marshall County. We collaborate on all of the various projects and initiatives that are important to all of us. And by doing that, we can increase our planning opportunities, identify additional funding, and assist with the execution of those projects across the county to improve the results of all of those efforts. And we've already seen some early wins. One is the formation of the Marshall County Community Development Corporation. That's something that larger counties like St. Joseph and Elkhart County have multiple CDCs operating within the county. A community development corporation can do many things, but the most basic one is it can acquire and use land for developing residential properties. So in South Bend, for example, the city itself owns a lot of property. It can donate that property to a CDC, which can then develop it for moderate income housing to meet the demands of the community. In Marshall County, we don't have that government-owned residential property in really any of the communities. So a CDC in Marshall County looks very different. There was a Lilly grant a couple of years ago. It coincided with the Ready 2.0 that provided funding to establish the CDC. And One Marshall County was instrumental in organizing that and getting it off the ground. They're now fully formed and operational, and they're beginning to develop their plans for initial projects to develop residential housing across the county. We also have been working, this identifies the RFQ for the municipal utility assessment. Actually, I was in a meeting this morning where we reviewed the responses to that RFQ. So that project is moving forward to do a countywide utility assessment for all types of utilities. And the intention is, number one, to create a database so that when developers look at potential sites in Marshall County, we can quickly tell them whether that site has the electricity to meet their demands, or the natural gas or water and sewer. And we can also use that across the communities to identify what are the shortcomings, where are the gaps we need to fill to make sure that we're providing the utility services that are in demand and will allow these developers to build here in Marshall County. One Marshall County also assisted with several arts and culture project proposals for the Lilly grant applications. Unfortunately, none of the Marshall County projects were selected, but the benefit is that all of those projects and organizations have now honed their focus on their proposed projects, and they're ready. Once they can find other funding sources, they already have that information on hand. They can quickly pivot and apply for other funding and look for other ways to make their projects become reality. The Rural Health Transformation Program grant, and I will talk about this more later. This is a statewide program providing grant funding for regional applications of projects. I'll get into that in a moment. We've completed 1 year of the Career Center programming at the Career Innovation Center, which is the joint project with LLN and the CTE Vocational Cooperative, combining 11 different schools housed on the campus at Plymouth High School to provide a career and technical education for our high school students moving forward. We've also completed a small business development centers cohort. This is a program run through MCEDC that provides training courses for small businesses. The first cohort focused on artistic businesses, but there are several others that are coming that will provide valuable information and training to small business owners or interested entrepreneurs so that they can be successful with those businesses. And finally, very excited that we've hired our first employee through One Marshall County. Taylor Wilson is our new communications and community coordinator. She's going to be doing a kind of a split role. She's focused primarily on communications and outreach, including social media planning and media communications. But it's a shared position with several of our nonprofit partners that are also contributing to the funding for that. So she'll be doing work for Heartland Arts Center and MCEDC and Lifelong Learning Network, in addition to work directly for One Marshall County. So I said I'd go back to the rural health grants. If you look at the map here, you'll see that we are part of region number 1, which is purple up in the top, at the northwest corner of the state. You may also notice that this is a collection of counties that we're not accustomed to working directly with. We have not developed the kinds of relationships across Newton, Jasper, Stark, Pulaski, Fulton, and little bit of Elkhart County, to the same level that we have in our normal regions, South Bend Elkhart Regional Partnership, and then our Maycog region that also includes Kosciuszko County. So the biggest challenge here has been, first of all, developing those relationships. This is a major opportunity, $26 million over the next few years for Region 1. It's already been earmarked for the region. We just have to put together a plan and submit an application that covers the entire region for what programs and initiatives can be funded to improve rural health. And One Marshall County played an integral role, along with Marshall County Community Foundation, in convening leaders from across this region on such short notice so that we could develop that application. That was submitted on July 1st. And we're anticipating a response to that sometime this month so that programming can begin in September. So we're excited about the opportunities there. We're very proud of the efforts One Marshall County had to bring all of these people together across the counties, people that didn't know each other when the process started, and have now been able to collaborate to submit a joint application for this funding. So we know why regional collaboration is important. It positions us to compete for larger opportunities. A lot of those grant opportunities, especially in recent years, have put an emphasis on regional impact and regional collaboration. We learned that again through the various initiatives in the county, and this is just the next step in leveraging those opportunities. We also recognize that any investment in the town of Culver benefits the rest of us across the county, and vice versa. What's good for Argus, what's good for Bremen, what's good for La Paz, they all benefit the residents of Culver as well. We're in this together at the end of the day. And that's really the fundamental idea behind One Marshall County. We are one county, and we can achieve more by working together toward those results. Of course, the return on the investment, like I said, every dollar is going to benefit all of us. We all know how those investments return to the communities. I mentioned the strategic plan for One Marshall County. The primary focus areas are listed here: housing and infrastructure, quality of life, quality of place, business growth, and workforce development, including workforce education, and of course, the community ecosystem and regional partnerships, creating that regional collaboration to leverage those opportunities. And the reason I'm really here tonight is to give you this information so that you understand why we're asking for your financial support to help One Marshall County continue these efforts and take them to the next level. We're asking Culver to consider a $20,000 investment for fiscal year 2027. Of course, I'm not asking you to take action on that tonight. I know that it's budget season. I think you guys had a budget workshop last night, so it's probably why Kevin has bags under his eyes, and Karen probably hasn't slept in a month or more. But we would ask you to consider including the investment in your 2027 budget to help support One Marshall County to continue these efforts and continue the success that we're already seeing. Again, for these collaborative projects, working together, leveraging opportunities, including grant funding, and to spread the word about the good things that are happening in Marshall County and what's still to come. The closing vision here is, I don't need to read that. That just summarizes what we all think about the benefits of Marshall County. And then, of course, like I promised, there's a list of the board members of One Marshall County. You have direct access to a couple of them, I know, and anybody on this list would be happy to speak with you. If you ever have questions or concerns or comments or requests, please reach out to any or all of these board members and let us know what's important to you here in Culver. And there are also several pages of appendix in the packet. I'm not going to bother with any of those. You can read them on your own time, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have while I'm here today. Sure.
Just one of many, but do you know how many houses in Marshall County are on the market? Any idea?
On the market right now, I do not know that. I can speak generally from my conversations with realtors and other real estate professionals that the inventory is still exceptionally low, but I don't have exact numbers for you. Somewhat related, I don't think it directly answers your question, but we know from two different housing studies. Of course, the United Way of Marshall County completed the Housing Matters study a year or so ago, and MACOG also did a regional housing study that has a particular focus in Marshall County. And between those, they identified the current need today is about 1,400 housing units across the county, and we expect that demand to increase. And I think you guys have seen that with your residential development. They come on the market and they get snatched up. Yeah, we've seen that in Plymouth also with any new housing development. They usually are full soon after they're completed, and most of them have waiting lists now. Absolutely. Again, thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Next on the agenda
Love
is
to
the
stay, but I have a family situation. Also, so if you don't mind. Sure.
Get out of here. Next on the agenda is the East Shore Conservancy District. Request for second amendment to agreement. Mr. Cerisi.
Yeah, hi, it's Sean Cerisi here on behalf of the East Shore Conservancy District. Looking for your approval of this second amendment that there's a property at 2255 East Shore Drive, the loyal W. Wilson Revocable Trust owns, that would like to get connected. It's been approved by the Conservancy District Board, and it's within the 150 maximum residential units that are allowed under your initial agreement. I'm sorry, your first amended agreement, as well as the flow capacities. So just be happy to answer any questions, but looking for your approval so that we can take this on to the courts to get approval to increase the size of the district.
Took a look at the area and with trees at the one end of it, I couldn't tell whether there was a house there or not.
Yeah, so it's the old property that Dave and Jane Gaskill had.
Oh.
And
Okay.
I know Mr. Wilson had originally intended to take that old barn that was there and renovate it into a home, and ran into a lot of challenge with that. So he's since built a new home that's designed to kind of mimic the barn that was there before. And so this would just allow it to get connected to services and be available for somebody to live in.
Counselors, any questions?
Any questions?
Bill, I need to recuse myself because I work for the East Shore Conservancy District. And just so you have the stats, the contract with the district from the town allows 150 connections. They currently utilize 136 that we bill for, so they still have 14 remaining connections. This would take one of those 14.
Thank you, Ms. Monroe.
Sure.
I have a motion to approve the second amendment.
Motion to approve.
It was moved by Mr. Neer. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Day. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Sharkey.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Thank you
evening.
very much. Keep this. And this. Next on the agenda. Appointment of the EMS Director. Counselors, we've all discussed this. Time to appoint a permanent director. Any questions on the part of council?
Questions?
May I have a motion, please?
Make a motion to appoint Lisa Richards.
Mr. Shardy moves to appoint Lisa Richards. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Neer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe,
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Shardy.
Aye.
Congratulations. Okay, next on the agenda is the first reading of ordinance 2026-007. This is an ordinance of the town of Culver, Indiana, amending the town Culver zoning ordinance to establish accessory dwelling units, or commonly known as ADU regulations. I won't read through the entire script of this, but whereas the town of Culver Plan Commission is authorized pursuant to Indiana Code 36-7-4 to make recommendation concerning amendments to the zoning ordinance of the town of Culver. And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Councilors, any discussion?
I think that's probably good. It's a good amendment.
All right. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment, for the ordinance 2026 007 to amend the Culver town zoning.
Mr. Shardy makes a motion. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Day. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger. Mr. Clevenger, Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe,
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Shardy.
Aye.
This is on first reading.
Yes,
Okay.
on first reading.
Okay. Thank you. Is there a motion to suspend the rules?
Mr. President, we can't suspend the rules on this one. We'd like to do the first reading on the next two, at this and the next one. That way we can introduce it to the public. We'll advertise the public hearing for the next reading, and we'll go to second and third for the next meeting at the end on the 27th. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dante. Next on the agenda is ordinance 2026-008. An ordinance of the town of Culver, Indiana, amending Article 3 of the town of Culver zoning ordinance pertaining to C1 permitted uses to include indoor repair of golf carts and all-terrain vehicles. Whereas the town of Culver Plan Commission is authorized pursuant to Indiana law and the town of Culver zoning ordinance to review and recommend amendments to the town of Culver zoning ordinance, et cetera, et cetera. Any discussion, councilors? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2026-008.
Make a motion to approve.
Mr. Shardy. Oh, thank you. Mr. Shardy moves to approve ordinance 2026-008. For a second. Second by Mr. Neer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe,
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Shardy.
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is resolution 003, Town Council of Culver, Indiana, adopting Indiana Code 5.23. Whereas the town of Culver, Indiana, the council's considered provisions of Indiana Code 5.23. Whereas the council now desires to adopt provisions of Indiana Code 5.23 by this resolution pursuant to Indiana Code 5.23, 5-23-1-1 M, etc. Motion to approve the resolution.
You had to explain that.
Yeah, and I appreciate that question. We received this from Mark Sullivan and CHA. This gives us the option to go into a build, operate, transfer model as we move into our design with the wastewater plant. This gives the council the option
to go ahead and exercise that bot. We've talked about the BOT, and this seems to be the path, the quickest to get towards construction phase. And so it was recommended by Mark to move forward. And one of the necessary procedures is to adopt this resolution towards that.
If you're adopting the entire chapter of the Indiana Code, it's one of the rare areas of the Indiana Code where you have the option of adopting the law to apply to you. Most of the time the law applies to you whether you want it to or not, but this time you can adopt it, and then allows you to contract with and delegate certain public jobs to be managed by or performed by private contractors. Pretty broad area, but I think we have to adopt it to allow it to be applicable to Culver in order to go forward with it. Something like that.
Yep. What he's,
Do you have any more coming? Oh, not that, okay.
no, sir.
All right, councilors, may I have a motion to approve resolution -003?
Motion to 003.
Mr. Mayor moves to approve resolution 003. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Shardy. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Chardy.
Aye.
Thank you very much. On to the emergency services report, please.
Good evening, council. I provided you with a report from July. We had a total of 48 911 calls. 20 of those were within the town of Culver, 27 were within the township, and 1 was to the county. 8 of the responses from Union Township were to Culver Academy. Any questions on those calls? Also would love to report that we received 2 new CPR mannequins donated by Furno, 1 adult and 1 infant, which we will be using to teach CPR classes in the future. We recently ordered a new airway mannequin for our providers to practice different airway techniques. The mannequin we had was so outdated, I don't even know how old it was. But our training officer did some research and found a new mannequin, so we've got that on order. We also ordered some new units called life back units, which are used for choking. And if you haven't seen them or heard of them, it's basically a mask that goes over face and nose, and you can use it on yourself. You can use it on children. You can use that on other adults, and it's for choking. So if a person's choking and back blows and chest thrusts don't help, you can plunge, and the theory is to get that item out of their airway. So we now have those on both of our ambulances for pediatric and adult patients.
I hope we never have to use
Yeah.
them.
We hope we never have to use them either, but we have them here. So also in the building, if anything happens, you guys can come back and grab us. During the month of July, our staff did training with Chief Carr from TCPD. They went to the elementary school, kind of learned the layout for the people that have never been in the school, the door numbers, how to access the building, where the classrooms are, where the nurse's office is, and just did a brief walkthrough with her. So they're more familiar with responding to the elementary school. In June, we discussed PRN staff going to part-time. So we had 3 spots, which I took applications and we held a process. And at the end of that process, we have selected Beth Montague, Paul Matheson, and Adam Baer to fill those part-time positions. Since we have 1 open full-time position, I would like to request sometime in the near future to have a work session to discuss filling that full-time position. Also some staffing ideas for our department, organizational modernization and leadership structure for our department. One last thing is I wanted to introduce one of my staff members, Richard Moneypenny. He's our training officer. He organizes training, keeps track of all of our training, recertifications, things like that. So this is Richard.
Hey, welcome.
If you guys haven't met him, he's going to talk for just a minute or 2.
So I'm Richard Moneypenny, just a little bit of a background. I have an associate's degree in paramedic sciences from Ivy Tech. I've been a practicing paramedic for 7 years, been in EMS for 10 years. And one of my biggest goals for like our department is the education portion. Kind of the reason why I got the new mannequin. But I mean, I look forward to working here. Glad you guys would welcome me into your town.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks, Richard.
Welcome.
Unless you all have any questions, that is all I have for tonight.
Do you have an idea about a work session? What would
Why
you,
don't we kind of figure out, send out an email, see.
Yeah.
who's available.
I made a note, Mr. President, and I'll organize that if that's okay.
all right, that's
Thank you.
fine. All right. Thank you, Lisa. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, fire. Mr. Cooper.
I have no action items for you tonight. We did have a busy month for July, though. We ran 22 calls. That is a quarter of the 88 that we're up to for this year. Significant number of those were medical calls and car crashes, which is kind of a change from our normal fire alarms. That's usually accounting for about 60% of our run volume. Just kind of put into perspective, I know every time I'm in front of you, I always mention that the runs are increasing. So where we're at right now in August is where we're at for the years 2021 and 2022. And then we've exceeded every year prior to that and on track to continue to top. It's increased every year since then. Tornado sirens have blown 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Fortunately, all our weather events have been non-events. We are thankful for that, but a few interesting calls that we had. We did utilize 2 drones on a search for a person that was injured in a motor vehicle crash and left. We got one from Argus, one from Marshall County. Spent about 2 hours searching. We weren't able to locate them with the drones, but it was good to have that resource available. And within 20 minutes or so, have those resources on scene and flying. It's really all I've got for you. So you have my comprehensive report in your email.
Thank you very much. Chief Becker.
Hoping they would go a little longer, so mine didn't seem so long. We all know how that goes.
Love what
I am providing you with our July monthly report
Thank you, sir.
for your review. Nothing remarkable in terms of each of these categories being low or high. They're pretty standard for our summer busy month in July. So that is for your review. A little recap of July with us. Some of our big events. We had the 4th of July fireworks. So I would like to publicly recognize, we had some assistance from the Marshall County Sheriff's Reserves that help us every year with that. So it's a big help having those extra officers in the park. Everything went off without a hitch there. Our typical Lake Fest weekend, that's always a big increase. Another shout out to, we were assisted with the reserves from the Marshall County Sheriff's Department for the fireworks, the parade, the run, the crosswalk safety. So having that resource is pretty valuable. Just recently, August 8th, we had our triathlon. Everything that I heard back from that went off really well. A shout out to, again, the Sheriff's Reserves for helping with intersections around the lake. Excuse me, as well as the Indiana State Police came down to provide assistance with that as well. So this week, our Culver Community Schools returned back in the session. The school crossing guard who started mid-year last year, Julie Romig, is back at the crossing guard. So you'll see her back down there. Another item on my list, I have provided you all ahead of time so that you could review this, but for transparency, I'm asking for a destruction or a disposition on surplus property that's been within the police department for quite some time as you went through the list and the respective attached photographs. You'll see if I had a specific date on them that we acquired them, I've included those as well. But I can briefly go through this list, but a lot of it is all items that would be of no value or little value, or if what little value they would. I believe the cost to dispose of them would be more costly than the little value that they would be worth. So some office chairs, some metal filing cabinets, old mobile Wi-Fi hotspots that were from our previous provider. Some of them were acquired in 2016. Kind of a chuckle on here. It goes back to how long we've had some of these items. There's pagers on here. When we thought it was a big deal that we had alphanumeric pagers. That's how long we've had some of this stuff. And then we have a box over there that has multiple chargers and analog cell phones. The old cell phones years ago, when you wanted to dispose of those, you could bring those in and drop them off to the police departments, and people could use those for what we called 911 phones. They didn't have a service, but they would dial 911. Those are no longer being able to use. So I have a whole box of those. Some of the office equipment is old printers, scanners, one of our desktop computers that our IT company deemed was inoperable. It had to be replaced. And then there was 4 laptops on there. I have the paperwork on at least 2 of them they were purchased in circa 2006. Again, 2006. So I don't think that they're of any use anymore. So I would just ask for your approval to deem those items that I've provided in the list and the respective photographs as no value or little value surplus property, and then ask for your permission to dispose of those as well. Just to clarify, those computers, we remove the hard drives out of those and we keep the hard drives, and then make sure that we dispose of the computers and they're inoperable, just for clarification.
First, I have a motion to approve the disposition of the property.
To dispose of that excess property.
Mr. Mayor moves to dispose of the excess property. Is there a second? Second. Second by Mr. Day. Roll call, please.
Mr. Culver.
Aye.
Mr. Day. Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Sharkey.
Thank you, council. Next, I provided you a heads up a few weeks ago on 2 of our patrol cars that got damaged, but wanted to bring those up tonight as well for public transparency. So the dreaded deer have come upon our patrol cars. Unfortunately, we had 2 of them damaged within a week due to deer running into the side of them. So one of which was a 2017 Ford. That vehicle is nearing 10 years old and has 105,000 miles on it. So our town deductible for insurance purposes is $2,000 deductible. I did reach out and get a quote on that with the graphics and the repair of that damage. And again, it was just minor damage, nothing major, nothing that makes the car inoperable. Minor sheet metal damage with little dents on the passenger side. It was about a total of $3,500 for that damage estimate. We would have a $2,000 deductible. To give you some insight, when we just traded in the last car that was 10 years old with less miles than this, the value of that was $3,500 on trade-in. So I have chosen not to turn that into a claim and not to pay to have that repaired, as I don't feel that it's efficient to spend that money and not get any value back out of it. The next one was unfortunately our newest vehicle to the fleet, the Durango, and it was damaged again by a deer running into the passenger side of it. Again, within a few days of the other one. That one will definitely need to get repaired. The quote and the graphics came in just a little bit higher, about $3,600. So I've worked with Clerk Heim, and we will start the insurance process on that one with a $2,000 deductible. So that was just to bring that to your attention of the public meeting. The final item that I have for you that's been on hold for a while, is asking for the posting to fill the vacancy of the full-time patrol officer's position that's still vacant within the department. So last year we did advertise for the open position. We conducted that hiring process. None of the applicants from that pool were selected. So that brings us back to needing to fill that vacant full-time patrol officer position. So that position has been continued to be budgeted. So there is the money that's currently in the budget for that position. We may have some interest that I would like to explore from actually within. So that we do have a part-time roster. Those part-time officers are all law enforcement academy trained. And so we may have some interest there. So the first thing that I would like to do is start with posting within the department and asking for your approval for me to post that notice for part-time officers who may be interested in applying for the full-time position. And see if there's any interest in there in lieu of opening up a full process. Let's start with, see if there's any interest internally and go from there. So asking again for your position or for your approval for me to allow that posting within the department for any part-time officers who may be interested in the full-time patrol officer position.
My question, Chaz, is you want us to approve your request to post it within your department, and also if that doesn't pan out, to approve, just that you want to come back.
So I will be putting a time on that internal posting of when those should be turned in. So yes, that would be great. That's a good suggestion, that if I don't get any interest within that time frame that it's posted, to then just go ahead and advertise outside of the internal. Yes, that would save that time in coming back and doing that. If you would be obliged to include that in your motion as well. Thank you.
Make a motion to be posting the open position within the department. And if nobody applies at such a point, you could post.
As usually advertised.
Usually advertised.
Yep. Thank you for that suggestion.
All right, Mr. Charlie moves to approve listing for part-time, and if nothing happens, the full-time position. I have a second, please. Second by Mr. Day. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Cardy.
Council, that's all the items I have for you, unless you have anything further for me. Did I do a can time?
You did. Wow. Maybe a little bit more negotiation with the deer community.
Yes.
You can move the crosswalks.
Yes, I believe Councilwoman Rishardi had expressed that to me, that was my responsibility to contact the deer population. Take care of that as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Crystal Park.
I would just like to start by saying thank you to all of our first responders that came out for our national night out last week. I think it was a good turnout for our first year. It's I believe the 64th annual nationwide national night out. It was our first time participating, and just wanted to say thank you. Even EMS got to work while they were there. And then a couple months ago, I came to you and asked about sponsorship for the Marshall County leadership, and I was accepted to that. So I will start there. I think it's the first Wednesday of September. So in just a couple of weeks, I'll start with that. And then last thing I have is that I would like your approval to take down the fishing pier this weekend. We've had some damage to it. We believe that some boats have hit it. It's caution taped off right now, as part of it has sunk down a couple of inches and, there's been some holes put in it. So even if we get it lifted back up, the holes can't be repaired right now. And so just asking if we can just pull it out this weekend.
Are you getting very many people?
We do have a lot
trying
of,
to?
we do have people that, fish, but I've also, think a lot of people are using it as, to drop their people off. They're using it as a courtesy
Yeah.
pier and they're hitting it.
They're using their,
I had
the
an,
pier as the boat stop.
I actually had a phone call, voicemail over the weekend where somebody had docked their boat there. They had just tied it off and went into town. They're literally using it as courtesy pier.
It's a shorter cut than the courtesy pier, and we're gonna have to explore a way for next season to prevent
It
that.
doesn't have the rail around it this year.
Right.
And so I'm thinking maybe if we, put the rail back up next year, we can put signs on there that say, this is not for docking.
Yeah.
And also it would be a little less convenient for them because it would have a rail.
Yeah. Agreed.
So,
Thanks.
but we've talked to, Valquit Brothers and they are, capable of finding people to help them take it down this weekend if you, approve.
Counselors, I have a motion to take down the fishing pier.
Make the motion to take on the fishing pier this week.
Mr. Nair moves to remove the fishing pier. May I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Mr. Day, roll call.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Chardy.
Anything else, Crystal?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, utilities, Porter.
I don't have much for you this evening, just one action item. We need to replace a check valve inside our water plant on our B well. Fearless has given me a quote for $5,730 to do that work. Asking for approval to get that done.
Make a motion to approve that. You replace
Check valve.
check valve.
Mr. Jardy moves to replace the check valve. Second, please. Second with Mr. Day, roll call.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Chardy.
That's pretty much all I have. We're gonna do that tour in Topeka Tuesday. You guys get to see what that's all about.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Dante, your report, please.
All right. I try to do this slow, Chad, so people can understand me when I'm not speed reading. Received the IDEM response. They were pleased with our actions. The agreed order came back. We're working with Mark Sullivan and CHA for a compliancy schedule. Mark sent a schedule for the BOT, and Bob and I are going to sit down with Mark probably next week. And we have a September 10th deadline for that compliancy schedule to be returned. We'll work through that. I'll present it to the council prior to sending it for approval probably, and we'll have that update for you, hopefully by the 27th meeting of this month. Encouraged by it and looking forward to kind of coming up with that schedule. We've got our quotes for tree removal coming along, and we should be probably hearing back from them in a week or two.
You need to modify that so I can.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
We got them ready to go.
It's a
we-
short list.
Yeah, we had a tree commission meeting last night, so we'll be able to do that. We'll sit down next week and get that done. Bob is also helping me work for quotes on a Kevlar Park paving project. Getting that track paved, and I've coordinated with redevelopment. It's ready to go. Been asked to get that done. Bob's helped me with the math and some of the process, and by that time, I see that going out next week and try to get at least 3 quotes on that one. Expect that to be a pretty reasonable project, something we can knock out before the fall's over. Just got to catch them before the mill's closed. Retail strategies, I've got an update. We're going to be hearing from them with an action plan. I'm excited for that. Coming in within the month, and we'll report back probably on the end of the month what those details are. Crystal did approach me about some water issues with the beach house. We fixed the windows, but we're still getting some water leak. It surely, Bob's going to take a look at it too, but it seems to me to be a foundation issue. That's something we may have to come and approach council before the year's over. we've gotten a deluge. It's been a lot of rain, but it's still a problem. We're gonna have to take a look at it. There has been some concern and contact by South Ohio Street concerning the wetland for several months now. I've been in contact with IDEM Waterways. IDEM Waterways sent me to Army Corps of Engineers. I've got a hold of Army Corps of Engineers. They need to determine jurisdiction on that wetland. If it's not connected to another waterway by river or by a lake, should be pretty easy. They're helping me through the process. They're going to send me a form for apparently there's a some type of pre-meeting that goes on. Talk to Kevin tonight. I'm going to get with Kevin next week to kind of help me in this process. Bob has been monitoring it, and there's something, and the correlation between the development and that is not clear, but there's a minor issue that's causing that wetland not to relieve like it has been. We've gotten a lot of rain, and that's a concession, obviously, a lot of rain, but we've been monitoring that, and we'd like to see that kind of return back to its original delineation and parameters. Not overly a problem, but we're not going to wait around for it. So get some contact and get some information and hopefully get some movement. Probably going to end up back on IDEM's waterways, more than likely dealing with them, but we'll see. Keep communication lines open. Definitely looking forward to the wastewater treatment plant field trip, as I call it, to Topeka. Interested in the council's opinion, what they see, what they like, and I will be sharing, and I think I have, but I'm going to share again. Mark Sullivan yesterday wanted to confirm he has provided a what he considers to be a realistic time schedule, leading us into a construction into May of next year. He has made it known to Bob and I both that this is tentative. It can be adjusted as we move, and we're both confident that if the BOT process is successful and Karen is working on the bonding and the funding, and Mark's going to set up a meeting with that, this schedule could be even earlier. But we'll reserve it, and I like the conservative date of May. So I'll keep you updated on that as well moving forward. And if council has any questions about that, please reach out to me. I'm happy to share any information there. Working with the theater group, they did some soil sampling at the site. And one of the samples, Mr. Cooper was kind enough to kind of bring my attention to it. While they were doing some boring, they did detect a fuel-like smell and some discoloration apparently in the soil. I'm not sure. I'm working with them currently on the details. They moved the soil sample site over to, since the foundation was on the theater, they moved it into that buffer utility channel that used to exist to the west side of the theater, which is technically town property. I addressed it with the theater group about maybe better communication doing that, but they did take the core sample. They acknowledged it and said absolutely. We're working with MACOG right now. That is on list with IDEM as being mitigated. It was remediated. I don't have the date. I was going to try to get that 2000.
Late 99.
99. Okay.
Early 2000.
I was going to say 2000 or 2001. I know there was a stretch of about 3 years where they went around getting all the old underground tanks out.
Dinky actually had it.
He did with the other ones uptown here on Main Street. Yep.
Both of them.
Yep. My guess is it was just a little bit of soil that was out. We've been approved and stamped off by IDEM. So MACOG's just going to ensure that, take a look at it, working with the theater group. As I find out more details, I'll be sure to inform council. But thank you. And that's all I have for you tonight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dante. Ms. Heim, your report, please.
I have a couple of claims over 2,500 for your approval. The first one is Travelers for 3,261. That is for the fire department and workman's comp policy. The second is Environmental Management Special Fund, 4,125. That is that IDEM settlement for the approved order. Then I have 3 for CHA Consulting, which is all part of the water plant project. And then out of the GEO bond, 14,750, 25,880, and 26,720. So if I could have approval of those claims over 2,500.
Make a motion and we approve those claims of $2,500.
Mr. Muir moves to approve claims over $2,500. May I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Shardy. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger,
Aye.
Mr. Day,
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe,
Aye.
Mr. Neer, Mr. Chardy.
Aye.
Thank you. The second thing I have, I just want to thank all the department heads and council for the meetings, on the budget. The last 2 weeks, we've got some work yet to do, but I will provide you an update on those numbers. Ideally, you'll have just an opportunity to make a final blessing on the budget at the next meeting on August 27th. Then I will submit everything on DLGF, or the Department of Local Government Finance, and their budgeting software. I do need to, and that needs to be done by September 4th. That's the date that I need to publish the public notice on the budget. And then the public hearing is scheduled for September 24th. Hopefully public hearing and first reading, and then hopefully final adoption on October 8th. So if you were unable to attend one or both of the budget meetings, and would like to review the budget with me, I'm happy to schedule some time to sit down and review it with you. So that you can completely understand, where we're at, what we're spending money on. And then finally, I have an engagement letter from Peterson Consulting Services to complete that annual capital asset report that I need for the annual financial report, and that cost us $2,200. So I just ask that you approve that engagement letter with Peterson Consulting Services.
Councilors, may I have a motion to approve the contract for inventory?
Peterson Consulting Services.
Peterson Consulting Services.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Monroe moves to approve the engagement of Peterson and Associates.
Second.
Second by Mr. Second by Mr. Muir. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Neer.
Aye.
Mr. Chardy.
Aye.
Thank you. And then one final thing though that I did want to point out, there is a public hearing at the next meeting on the two ordinances that we had first reading on. So I just wanted notice has been put out in the newspaper, but just want to make that announcement. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, this is the time for citizens to comment on any item on the agenda. I noticed one point in time there was a question during one of the events. Was that? Esther, was that you? Did you have anything that you wanted to add?
Take care of them later.
All right, thank you. Council issues.
Just a big thank you, Chad, Triathlon, doing all that. Lisa, great job with the EMS, and park looked great. People utilize that. Bob, the town looks super like always. Thank you, everybody. We had 450 participants, which is by USA Triathlon standards, a large event. With 30 volunteers, and then all the funding raised goes back to charity. So great community event. So thank you.
Mr. Shardy.
I would just like to congratulate Lisa and thank the other department heads for their hard work as well.
Mr. Day.
Same thing. Congratulations, Lisa. Congratulations on this. Thanks you guys for all you do.
Mr. Monroe.
Yeah, definitely wanted to congratulate Lisa and thank her for making the transition go well for us. And then I know we're approving or getting to that point of approving moving forward with the budget. Want to thank Karen and Kevin and the department heads for a lot of hard work and detailed work that went into that. And though it feels for them rushed, etc., I thought it was very organized and I would easily followed along as someone who wasn't part of the process. So I think that's a really good reflection of the work that they're doing. And then I wanted to throw my support behind the request tonight from One Marshall County. For those who weren't around when we did Regional Stellar, it was guided by One Marshall County, which used to be the Culver or the Marshall County Crossroads team. And the ROI on that, if you just want to look at it from a dollars and cents standpoint, the park project on the west end of our park was a Regional Stellar project, and that organization helped us get $400,000 for that project. So though the ask of 20,000 may seem high, over the years that they've been collaborating together, you know, that's some of the return that Culver has seen. And that doesn't even get down to the fact that knowledge is being shared at those meetings, which makes Kevin's job easier, Karen's job easier. And especially because both of them share what we do in Culver with their colleagues on that group. And that knowledge sharing is really important from a regional standpoint. It's the only regional planning team that we have in the county. And I think 20,000 is a drop in the bucket for what they help accomplish and what they've returned to Culver.
Thank you very much. I would like to, first of all, congratulate Lisa on her appointment. I'd like to thank Kevin and Karen for their hard work on the budget. And I'd like to thank all of our department heads for their fine work and their diligence for our community. I'll ask for adjournment. Motion to adjourn. Mr. Neer moves to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second with Mr. Day. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Aye.
Mr. Day.
Aye.
Mrs. Monroe.
Aye.
Mr. Deere.
Aye.
Mr. Schmidt.
Aye. We are adjourned.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you letting me be remote.
Look. 26.